Hello, beach friends. Today we're going to see a different side of Florida, literally, because we've traveled to the East Coast to John MacArthur State Park. A $4 entrance fee is well worth the price for the huge park and beach we get to explore. We are going to be walking the beach looking for treasures such as these, and we're also going to talk a little bit about lightning and what I do to stay safe because rainstorms were in the area almost the entire time I was on the beach. And we're also going to get to see another rather large sea creature, and we're going to talk about some shark facts as well. So if you're ready to start our salty and somewhat soggy adventure, let's go to the beach. Okay, we have made it. I was in the car for 3 hours, drove across the state, and I did hit a little weather on the way over. And as much as you'd like to say you can predict it, and I get my apps and everything, there was a little weather, and it looks like I might have a little bit more weather to deal with, but that's okay, and I'm going to tell you all about my plan. Now, typically there is a tram that will run between 10 and 4. It's not running right now, so if you're going to come here, you might be able to catch that tram. Yeah, and I'm watching. So that's the weather behind me, but it's still rumbling. So there's a little sign. This is the pickup point, so you wouldn't have to walk that long boardwalk. You could just hop on that tram, but I decided to hoof it as I make my way up to the beach. Now, this is a state park, so they do offer other trails and things. There's canoes that you can rent. Here's some of the trails that you might want to walk on. Maybe if you came here in the winter. It really is beautiful. But it is summer, it's hot, it's rainy, and should I need to, I know that there is this building here that's very close to the beach. So if I need to get off the beach, I know that there is shelter. And that's one of the reasons that I just kind of pushed through, that I knew that there was somewhere that I could seek refuge. Look at the view. Hello, Atlantic Ocean. Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, we have a yellow flag, which is just medium hazard. Fantastic. I wasn't planning on swimming per se anyway, but we're going to make our way down there and see what is on the beach. So I can see they have those railroad vines, those beach morning glories, those purple flowers. We have them too over on the west coast. The tide was coming out. It says the thunderstorms are going to end. We shall see. And in the meantime, let's start combing. All right. We'll start off with some garbage, but it's cute garbage. We'll take that little butterfly off the beach. Let's see what other fun things we can also take off the beach. So that was kind of like a higher rack line. Lots of seaweed. Beautiful though. All right, my first spectral bittersweet. So these are one of the shells I was looking forward to finding. Fantastic. And since there was so much of that seaweed, I was kind of hoping there'd be a little something kind of hidden under there. But, you know, little this, little that. I was kicking around a little bit, but there wasn't all that much really hidden underneath anyway. So just kind of moseying on. Seeing what we can find. Here is another one of those spectral bittersweet clams. We don't really get them on the west coast, so I know they're very common, but I really, really like them. There's just a piece. Let's see if we can figure out what that is. I think that is a broken slipper snail and a bittersweet. Another spectral bittersweet. Some of them will have like they're white or they're brown. They look like candy. So those are the ones that I'm kind of hunting for. Right. So lots and lots of the same. Those are all spectral bittersweets. I'm looking just to see if I can find any with those little stripes on it, and just to see. Oh, that is not a spectral bittersweet. That is a lady in waiting Venus clam. Those I do get over here on the west coast. Here's another one with a little bit of color on it. Oh, another lady in waiting Venus clam. What about this one? Yeah, it's a little white. I'll take that. So just kind of see if there's any of the particularly beautiful spectral bittersweets. Lots of beach to cover. There we go. It's got a little bit of that striping on it. Fantastic. All right, so it was a little slow up on the beach. I figured I'd go down into the water and see what all is down here. Completely different from the West Coast. So this is what I'm used to. For the most part, it's just calm, lapping waves. Not like it is on the East Coast. You guys have some pretty serious surf. It is a total different kind of shelling. You really got to be quick, because once you see it, it's gone. You don't really get that second chance the way you do on the beaches that I normally beachcomb. So this was a little bit of an exercise in frustration for me, because I just couldn't really see something that I wanted to grab, and dang it. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on the weather too. So the tide will be going out at some point. I'll try the water again. So I've driven back up onto the sand. We have another lady in waiting Venus clam. Nice hardy shell. Like they really got some oomph to them. Oh, and then the striped spectral bittersweet. Those are the ones I'm kind of looking for. Beautiful. Doesn't it look like candy? Like it's a caramel and something swirl. So I just think they're so pretty. And I don't get them on the East Coast. I'm sorry, I live on the West Coast. I don't really get them on the West Coast. So happy to see them. A good thing, because that's pretty much all I'm seeing so far. Lots of seaweed. And then there's this other little drier rack line. Again, looking for anybody different. More bittersweets, that's okay. At least there's something there. It's because it's just nice to see a different coast, a different ocean. I know there's some goodies out there. I'm excited to see what it's going to be. What's going to be the special treasures that I find today. Another very pretty spectral bittersweet clam. Uh-oh. Well, y'all did have a little bit of garbage on the beach. It wasn't that much, but just like I normally do, I pick up all the garbage that I find on the beach and I weigh it just to see how much of an impact I personally can make on removing garbage from the beach. So we'll review that at the very end of the video. Oh, we have ourselves a lettered olive. Terrific. Complete with, yep, shells jammed in there. I'm not surprised at all it's missing its top. I wonder if you guys ever get to see the really pointy glossy ones. What else? All right, so we got a little bit of a smattering of stuff. It's mostly crushed shells, little bits of broken shells, and then the spectral bittersweet. So that's for the most part. For us on the West Coast, I'm normally looking at the arcs. There's always the arcs. What is that? Another bittersweet? Oh, very pretty. So these, I would say they're comparable to the crossbarred Venus clamshells that we have on the West Coast, because they are pretty much always on the beach. So pretty. So that is kind of that pattern that I'm hunting for. What do we got? Okay. We have something organic here. I don't know what it is. I was actually not able to figure it out. It does look a little bit like a calabash fruit or a laurelwood fruit, but if I had to guess, I think it's a sea coconut. Not positive. Some of these things are really hard to ID, but just kind of cool seeing a big old seed like that. A blood arc. Okay, so this is one of the arcs that I really don't find much on the West Coast for whatever reason. This is called a blood arc, and they're kind of got that oval shape on the reverse side. I just think they're kind of cool. Now, one of the other things I'd like to point out, I've been here for a while. There is nobody here, nobody but me. I have this whole place to myself. That, my friends, that is a giant bittersweet clam. Those are beautiful. That one, It's a little worse for wear, so I am going to leave it here in the hopes that I'll find something that's just a little bit better condition. So I'm trying my luck again. I'm back in the water, seeing if by any miracle I can maybe see and snag a shell. Yeah, I think just that quickly I gave up. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait for low tide. So we'll go back up onto the beach and see what else is up here. So it looks like I went up into the higher rack line. And there is, again, there is lots and lots of shells. I'm kind of looking for Scotch bonnets. I found quite a few of them the last time I came, the last and only time I came here. So this is only my second visit here to this beach. Kind of combing through lots and lots of those bittersweets, which again works for me. That one's a little bit beat up, but at least there's shells here. Oh, now that little piece I recognize just because of the reverse. That shape of that shell is a turkey wing. It is, and I am not surprised, very beach worn. It looks like it's been here for a little while and some other critters got at it and etched some little holes in it. So we'll just say hi to that turkey wing and leave it here. Oh, that I'm gonna bring home. So that's one of those bittersweet clams with those beautiful stripes on it. And a slipper snail. So we found a broken one earlier. Here we have an intact one. Not quite as colorful as some of the ones that I get over on the West Coast, but a slipper snail nonetheless. Okay, a ponderous arc. And I just think that that's so pretty. The ones that I usually got are just kind of white, maybe a little bit of black on it. So that is a ponderous arc with really cool, weird coloring. Love it. And this, I know exactly what that is. I know that that is a lightning whelk because lightning whelks open on the left. So even though it is missing its top and it's broken in certain places, because the opening, the aperture is on the left, I know that that is a lightning whelk. So no mystery, but I'm also not going to take it home. I've got plenty. All right, dang it. I see some weather. So that is rain where you see those big gray blobs. That's rain. So I'm kind of hoping it's going to slide to the north and south of me. We'll just have to kind of see. I'm going to keep an eye on it. So here's another seed. It's different from that first one I picked up. My best guess would have been a water hickory or a bitternut hickory nut. However, those only get to about 1 inch. So I don't know what that is. Kind of interesting. It is organic and not garbage. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that weird little nut. Okay, cool. Another little smattering of shells. Would you look at that? So that is a calico scallop. A little bit rounded on the bottom, but I would recognize that pattern anywhere. Well, hello, bittersweet. Isn't that pretty? So it looks like it might have soaked up a bunch of that brown color. I wonder if there's something in the sand, some mineral that kind of turns the shells that brown color. And this is a mystery bit. I don't know what that is. I thought it might have been broken on top, but that appears to be the entire aperture on the bottom. So that is a mystery shell to me. I do not know what that little piece is, nor do I know what that little piece is. So it's unfortunate I only have the little pieces of these shells, but do like a good mystery. I'm going to hold on to them anyway. So this is a lady-in-waiting Venus clam, but what I found absolutely remarkable is that drill hole in it. So another critter, most likely a predatory gastropod, has drilled a hole into that shell, and it's thick, so I can't imagine how long it must have taken. So when you see the shells with those holes drilled in them, that was done by another critter. It was hungry and it was ready to have itself a little meal or a snack. So that is what creates those holes. I think they're kind of cool on those little bittersweet clams. So I did try a little bit of sifting in the sand. I figured, yeah, while I'm here, is there stuff kind of like buried? And the sand is nice and soft. And I probably could have spent quite a while actually doing this, just kind of sitting and going through the sand like this. But if it's buried, and it's not a technique that I am really comfortable with. So, you know, I just kind of sifted some things around, see if there's anything there. Yeah, there is, but I really don't know how to pick a spot or where to start. So I'll just kind of keep doing what I normally do, kind of kick around some seaweed, see if there's anything in there, and just kind of walk around and see what I can find. We have a top of a shark eye. Yep, just a piece of it. Too bad it wasn't whole, but that is indeed a moon snail called a shark eye. All right, we got some more bits and pieces, and I suspect we have more of those spectral bittersweet clams. Just kind of looking through any that have any of that real pretty striping on it. I'll definitely be taking quite a few of these home. Kind of like the ones that have that gray on it too. And that gets, just from being buried in the sand, it'll kind of absorb some of the mineral colors, and or it's a chemical reaction that happens and turns the shell a little on the dark side. All right, it looks like the rain is coming, and while I still have time, one more time, I'm really hoping at some point I'm going to have some luck in the water. Okay, I think if you were standing in the right spot, you might be able to grab a little something, because we do know the tide is going out. I don't know how much it really helps on this coast. All right, managed to grab one of those rather darker spectral bittersweets. Probably because of the color. Yeah, it's tough. You got to see it, grab it. That's just about all the time you have. And unfortunately, at this point, I knew that the rain was coming, so I'm going to go to my little hidey hole spot, because lightning is something you do not want to mess around with. So pay attention here. It is 9:32 right now. So I've been here for a little while. It's okay. We're going to hang out and be safe, and let's do some talking about lightning. So I use an app called My Lightning Tracker and Alerts. I use the free version. Look for that little yellow blog with the black zigzag on it if you're going to download the app yourself. Now, that's me, that little blue mark. That red mark is lightning. When I clicked on that, it was 0.4 miles away. Now that was at 9:49, so I was off the beach and safe, but you really, really don't want to mess around with lightning. It's literally hotter than the surface of the sun. Now, according to the National Lightning Safety Council, between the years 2006 and 2021, so that was a 16-year span, there were 446 United States fatalities from lightning. And Florida is the U.S. lightning capital, so I do not mess around with it. And I encourage you as well, if you do think you're going to be out on the beach and you may encounter lightning, download that app. It gives you the alerts. You can go in and set it up. Mine tells me about 9 miles away, so I give myself 9 miles, and it'll alert me. So I just kind of hung out for a little while. I'm glad I got to tell you about lightning. It is nothing to mess around with, seriously. Be safe when you're out there. All right, we did see submerged rocks before, and there is no lifeguard. So this time I'm a little bit slower going onto the beach. The first time I kind of run, all right, maybe not run, but I am usually quite excited to get down there. Okay, so I'm going to try again this water that has been frustrating me, but I'm really dying to kind of see what other goodies might be in there. Look at that. So we do have a spectral bittersweet on the bottom, and that is a thorny oyster. Isn't that pretty? So they do come in that brick red. They kind of come in a yellow color. Beautiful thorny oyster, and a very nice colored spectral bittersweet. There we go. So that is a giant bittersweet clam. Definitely a keeper. You can kind of see it's got a little bit of its color. It's a good shaped clam, nice and hearty anyway, but yep, definitely going to hold on to that as well. And so I did just a kind of a quick grab just to kind of see mostly what's in there is, again, those bittersweets that are pretty much all over the beach anyway. Yeah, it's pretty much what's in the water too. But I did snag this little olive, a lettered olive. Probably has shells jammed in the aperture, probably missing its top, but that's okay. Ooh, see, now we're talking. I like those striped bittersweets, and one that's a little bit solid and dark. Another blood arc. Very cool. Okay, so when I say it's picking up, maybe just a little bit, but at this point I think I'm gonna relocate, look for a better place in the water, and let you all have some beach time. All right, not surprising. We have yet another one of those bittersweets. I like, oh, see, isn't that pretty? So those really are kind of the patterns and colors that I'm looking for. The other ones are real pretty too, but those striped ones like that, isn't that pretty? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Of course, I would not leave a Scotch bonnet if I were to come upon it, but I'm gonna have to make the most with what I've got to work with. So the tide at this point, just about dead low. Again, I don't know how you all do it. So at this point, I just really said, I'm going to go for it. I went up on the beach, I put all my equipment down, and I just went in the water. So I had no camera, no nothing, just trying to grab whatever I could find. And I did okay. This is one of my pockets. It looks like I got another. Here's my favorites from that grab. We have ourselves another one of those giant bittersweet clams. That is actually a kitten paw, that other weird looking thing. And those orange. That orange piece there is a piece of a lion's paw. I think that little one is a gray pygmy Venus. That other piece, after examining after a while, I actually think that's a piece of a lion's paw. That is the top of another lion's paw. At the time, I couldn't really figure it out, but I think that's what that is. And then those are a couple of the more pretty, I would say, spectral bittersweet clams. All right, in the other pocket, see? That is a giant bittersweet, that little brown stripy one, or the zigzaggy one. Isn't that pretty? So that's a giant bittersweet. We have a lady in waiting Venus clam that has that beautiful like gray color. We also have an auger right underneath that. And then we do have, that is another giant bittersweet that's just been kind of colored funny. Love it. That's another bittersweet, also colored funny. And then the olive. I do have my preferences. I like the really, really new pointy ones and sometimes the really, really worn ones. I just think they're so pretty. So it was a little bit more lucrative to kind of get in the water, but man, it is so much harder to shell over here. I did have myself a really good time though. I thought it was really great to come over here. I'm glad I got to tell you guys about lightning and how dangerous it really can be. And in just a second, we're going to talk about something else that people probably consider to be dangerous here in Florida. But again, I'm going to tell you, keep an eye on that lightning if you're out there. So we're going to make our way off. And I just love the sound. Florida can just sound so Florida. It just sounds like nature. So I'm making my way back to my car, just kind of enjoying the view. And I do see some critters kind of making their way through the water. At first, I only saw a bunch of these fish. So, okay, not surprising. This is, I believe, a popular fishing spot too. I spoke to somebody else who had been in the water and encountered a shark. And so that is what we're looking at there. That little disturbance in the water is a shark. And let's talk about sharks, because we talked about lightning and how dangerous lightning was. And remember, not too long ago. So in that 16-year span, there were 446 fatalities. So I think when people come to Florida, they're probably more afraid of sharks than they are of lightning. But you have that all wrong. You should really be much more afraid of lightning than sharks. Sharks are a really, really important part of the ocean's healthy ecosystem, and in my opinion should really be protected. Now, we had talked about the lightning deaths over 16 years. Remember, it was over 440 deaths from lightning, according to the Florida Museum. So over 51 years compared to 16, guess how many deaths there's been from sharks? 9. So if you think about that, it was 16 years, over 440 deaths from lightning, 51 years, 9 deaths from sharks. You are actually statistically more likely to be killed in a selfie accident. Worldwide, since they have been keeping track of this, 330 people have been killed in selfie-related accidents. So we are much more a danger to ourselves than the sharks are to us. And as a matter of fact, we are very dangerous to sharks. We kill over 100 million sharks a year. Now, this is mostly from the shark finning, where they just cut the fins off the sharks for shark fin soup and things like that. So that is one of the things that are killing these amazing creatures that really, like I said, they really should be protected. Be safe, be smart, and be safe when you're out there. So that was really exciting to kind of see those sharks right at the end of my trip. And then as I was getting into my car, I noticed I still had some shells in my pocket. So let's take a look at this lady in waiting Venus clam, as well as another one of those nice dark colored spectral bittersweets. Really loving that lady in waiting Venus clam. In addition to removing some shells from the beach, I also took some garbage that weighed about 0.74 pounds. So for today, I've removed almost a pound, but in total, since I've been keeping track in March, I've removed a little over 5 pounds of garbage from the beach. Removed a couple other things from the beach today. I did get a couple of those arcs and a couple of those weird little bean nut things. Got some lady in waiting Venus clams, some bits and pieces of mystery things, that one little calico scallop and some of those olives. And then we got some lion's paw pieces, kind of cool, the auger, the thorny oyster, some other mystery pieces, a giant bittersweet, a nice colored little bittersweet, maybe a pygmy clam, I don't know. And then a bunch of those real pretty spectral bittersweet clams. Awesome. So it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I was kind of hoping I was going to get myself a whole bunch of those Scotch bonnets again, but you just never know what's going to be out there. And since I did so much traveling today, next week we are staying super local. We're going to Bunch Beach, one of the more local beaches over here. Patreons, thank you. Thank you so very much for helping me and supporting me. I appreciate everybody who comments and comes along. I really do appreciate it. So you have yourself a great week, and I'll see you again next Sunday.